turning pages, night turning days. I'm tired of waiting, I gotta make it.
What's up, y'all? This Relly back with another video. Yes, and today we got to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about regarding the Cleveland Cavaliers. But before we get into that, I need you to smash that subscribe button. If you are already subscribed to my channel, share it to somebody who ain't subscribed, because with y'all, I know I can get there. And when y'all are done with that, I need to hover over to the like button and smash that too, so we can tell the YouTube algorithm to share this video with the world. But with all that being said, though, we have to start off with the obvious. What happened last night game? And a lot of stuff happened last night game. And of course, we found out once again that we are the most unluckiest team when it comes to injuries. So speaking of injuries, a lot of y'all by now probably know Jarrett Allen got hurt. And it was a left quad contusion. Now, me personally, in that first quarter, I did not see what happened. Like, I just know he was blocking shots, he was playing really aggressive, and he was setting a tone defensively. And then after that first quarter, I just didn't see him. It to a point where I heard the announcer say that he was getting checked out, and then later through that game, I think by the end of the second half, they was like Jarrett Allen was completely ruled out for the rest of the game. Now that's unfortunate for us because we've been suffering injuries after injury after injury. So now we just got to keep battling through it. But Jarrett Allen is a huge miss. Like, first we was missing guards, now we're missing a big. And this will hurt, I'm not gonna lie, because we don't know the duration of this. Like, I've seen where some might be day to day, some has been month to month with contusions. My idea is that this is gonna be a week to week thing, best case scenario. But hopefully, man, because we just cannot have any more setbacks for the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially when this game, you can tell we started to get a little bit of our momentum back. Now that we're talking about the game, I want y'all to know that Cleveland plays really, really bad when it comes to zones. Like, we respond terribly. And some may argue that we started to get the fire, but we literally had our worst time in that second and third quarter once they kicked in the zone. And it was really the third quarter when the zone was in full action. They tried to run it again in the fourth quarter, like midway through the fourth quarter, but we kind of had momentum, so we was kind of battling through it. But really, I'm kind of scared for us when it comes to zones. Now, like I said, people can argue that the reason why their zone hurt a little bit more is because they literally had length. Like, everybody was like 6'7" plus on the floor. It seemed like they had Scotty Barnes running the point guard, and that was causing a lot of problem for Darius Garland early on in the first quarter. And especially when it came to shooting, like that shooting was just, it was kind of weird. Like, Kevin Love gave us a little bit of relief. He gave us a lot of relief, actually. But in the first couple quarters, it was just terrible. It was a sad thing to watch, a scary thing to watch, because the spacing, the shooting, everything was just terrible. Yes, we had the lead for, I think, throughout the whole entire game, actually. But or a good portion of the game, I should say that, But it didn't feel that way. Like, even when we had 10 point leads, it just did not feel like we had a 10-point lead, and it was getting cut very quick. You know what I'm saying? Because every time we had let off the gas. The defense was getting to us. They was playing extremely physical, which was making our players feel uncomfortable. You can see it, and it was just weird, And then on top of that as well, when, like I said, when you have Scotty Barnes at the point guard, and you got Siakam on there, and the other center, Chris, that I'm not going to pronounce his last name because I know I'm going to botch it. That's really why I stuttered a little bit. Then you got Gary Trent at the 2. It makes it really, really tough, right? Because they literally had to be very strategic with their passes, which is why we had so many turnovers. Literally in the first minute of the game, we had 2 straight turnovers already. Because we could not throw dangerous passes. And when they threw the zone, it was like the passing was even more emphasized why we had to be strategic. And this is where I was kind of getting a little nervous on Evan Mobley, because Evan Mobley was just throwing away some terrible passes. Like, he was just throwing some, especially in transition. That's really what I mean. I've kind of noticed that, Evan Mobley on transition, when it comes to passing or just making a play, he has a very hard time making that decision. It's very sloppy. It's not very coordinated. Which, it could be this game. It could be the games I watch, you know what I'm saying? But it kind of makes me a little hesitant at times. But everything else was dominant. I mean, Evan Mobley was well, not pretty good. He was really good. Like, we had a lot of players that was dominant. They was attacking the paint. They was aggressive, and especially in that fourth quarter. And I'm glad I put the stats up too, so I can really see it visually now. Like, looking at this, like, these stats definitely told a story. Like, Evan Mobley had to be aggressive in the paint. Now, what it don't explain is some of the things Evan Mobley was doing, like I said, passing. It was just a lot of weird movement from Evan Mobley. But if you get past that, right, especially at the bottom half of the third and in the fourth quarter in general, we played exactly how we was supposed to. Now, when it got to like the last 2 minutes, Cleveland was back to doing some really weird things with the ball, pointless turnovers, pointless decision making, and it was really because the Raptors kept rotating their defense. Like, and when I say rotating, like, they kept switching it. Like, it was a different defense every single time. Like, it was zone, then it was a high zone, then they played man, but it was always length and a lot of size to where it just gave the Cleveland Cavaliers problems. And then the Cavaliers, I mean, you can tell, was kind of tired because every time on the offensive end, they had to literally make sure they was on a 7-footer basically every single play. And that's tough. That's really tough, especially when the Raptors are playing aggressive on both ends. Luckily, we won. Luckily, Cleveland could see a W because this was a game they needed. This was a desperate W that the Cleveland Cavaliers needed. And this was a tough match. This was an exciting match. If you really love basketball, this was definitely something you wanted to watch because this was entertaining. Like, don't get me wrong, this was a really entertaining game. Definitely, if you was a Cavs fan, you probably was definitely screaming at your television, but you definitely had fun nonetheless. And before I talk about the last subject too, since when does Dwayne Wade had that in his bag where he punching on people like that, man? Because I seen that, I'm like, ooh, Dwayne Wade must be angry. But I like that because that definitely was a momentum shifter. That definitely gave our guys some energy, for sure. But like I said, we got to talk about the next topic. Now let's have a little fun with this, right? Because when I seen this, man, when I seen that, you know, Ant low-key wanted to play with the Cavs because of Colin Sexton, I was like, oh, God. Like, I just wanted y'all to think about, like, how would the Cavs be if we had Anthony Edwards? Because I think we would go crazy right now. Now, and also, too, just so y'all can have me on record, I'm not gonna lie. This would be a game where I desperately would want Colin Sexton on the floor because we could have definitely used Colin Sexton. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, yes, we got the job done, but this job may have been easier had we had another scorer, another shot creator. Because in a zone, you need 2 shot creators to truly break that zone. Yes, you know, that size would have definitely caused us some problems still. But to truly break a zone, you need 2 shot creators. You need 2 legitimate, respectable shot creators. That's Darius Garland, and that's Colin Sexton. And then when you pick when you pick Kevin Love on the floor, who was definitely on from 3, then that zone is broke, right? And then they have to go back to man because they just cannot afford the one-on-one. They just can't afford it. So down in the comments below, let me know how y'all feel about last night's game.
That's Atlantis with that money.